Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Blunt Talk Live. This is your local news source. I'm your host, Rod, also known as the Rod Father, Rod God, my bud tender Rod, Rodney Dangermouthe. Got a lot of different names, folks. I've been doing this online shit for a long time. This is our first localized episode. This is Reno in review. So I'm gonna talk some weed, gonna talk some news, gonna smoke some weed. Maybe make some news. I don't know. Nonetheless, welcome, motherfuckers. You ain't gonna hear Dan Rather say that, are you? No. Fucking Young Turks sucking dick, motherfucker. Anyway. I like Dan Rather, but I think the Young Turks are garbage. They're just garbage. They're the Democratic version of Alex Jones. They're the same exact cloth, just the other side of the story. Just as hyperbolic and ignorant. Anyway, I digress. I'm just mad that Dan Rather is going to work over there at Young Turks. I think he's doing his own thing. He should be doing his own thing. Because he's actually a newsman, not a fucking commentating douchebag. Which is how I feel both about Alex Jones and Cenk Uygur at this point. Fuck the Young Turks, fuck InfoWars, fuck all of them. I gotta do my own thing. Gotta find some balance, folks, you know? Because was 9/11 an inside job? Probably. Has every mass shooting that's happened since Columbine been faked by the government? Probably not. Would hardcore legislation changes in the government towards gun control stop kids from wanting to fucking kill each other? Of course not. So I gotta find a balance, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta find a balance here. So the balance is local. That's where I'm going. As you can see right, where am I? Yeah, right there, okay. Hi, me. Right? So, yeah. Right up here, you can see I got the web browser rocking. Let's make that a little bit bigger. Right there. I'll scooch maybe just a little to the right. There we go. Back to some web browsing. Hopefully you can see that shit now. Yeah, fairly well. Well enough, I guess. Takes up a quarter of the screen, right? So, let's just kick it right into gear and look at some news. Looks like John Kerry and Harry Reid are going to reclaim democracy by having a fucking call for climate change at the UNR. Looks like that already happened. Damn, what's going on here? 13 hours ago? That's my up-to-date news for Reno. Could I get something a little better, Google? I feel like you can do better. Nope. Can't do any better. Let's see what they had to say. What the fuck? So much for the mute hot button. That's fucking infuriating. I'm gonna do a hotkey to mute the fucking microphone or what? I sure did. The only microphone is camera one. I guess I gotta do it for both. That's fucked up. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. This is, after all, our first episode, and I don't have a fucking engineer. I'm your host and your engineer. How do you like that? I run the screen and I run the fucking conversation. That's what I do. That's what I do. So we're back at this here. Reno Gazette-Journal. They laud gun protesters, call for action on climate change at UNR lecture. Let's see here. What do we say? Americans need to follow student gun protesters' lead to reclaim our democracy, John Kerry told friendly audience on Tuesday. Good grief. I cannot help but notice now, this is twice that I've seen a different cause try and attach itself to these young kids protesting gun violence. Now, admittedly, protesting gun violence is like protesting general rape, murder, or child abuse. The people committing those crimes don't give a fuck about your feelings. Let's just get that out of the way. Protesting gun violence is silly. I know, you don't like to hear it. It's true, though. It's actually true. It's an objective fact. Because there's no one around or alive that thinks, yeah, shooting a bunch of motherfuckers is an okay thing to do. Usually when you protest, it's to try and persuade the opposing opinion that what they're doing is either wrong or that what you'd like to be doing is righteous. So opposing gun violence, who the fuck isn't opposed to gun violence? Oh yeah, murderers and criminals. That's it. Anyway, let's take the current situation with these kids protesting for gun control and attach that to Black Lives Matter or climate change now. And get me wrong not. If Black Lives Matter or climate change is your fucking passion, get out there in the streets and march. Do your thing. I'm not opposed to you doing your thing. Not at all. Black lives do matter. But so do cat lives. Which brings me to my next important thing here. 3 pets killed in a duplex fire. Midtown fire kills 3 cats. Ladies and gentlemen of Reno, Nevada, I want to remind you that you do in fact live in a city where the Reno Gazette-Journal has an entire article dedicated to 3 dead cats in a fire. That's pretty impressive. I mean, there's also some stuff about a shooting, a kid getting killed by the cops, but I mean, like 3 cats in a fire, guys. Come on. That's pretty fucking impressive. Good news, right? Good news. Not like gospel, but I mean like quality news, as opposed to fake news. Goddamn. A Reno man pleads guilty to sexual exploitation of infant daughter. Now, this fucking guy is going to get his ass beat in prison real fast. And not in a friendly, fun, gay way, but in like a broomstick kind of way. Why do they always look like this? You know what I mean? Why? Why is it always this fucking guy?
A Reno man faces at least 15 years in prison after pleading.
God damn it. Shut up, bitch. This fucking automatic play bullshit is not helpful in avoiding copyright infringement, which I'm not even responsible for. We all saw it, my opening. This is all fair use. I'm making no loot off here. Fuck, YouTube won't even let me collect fucking ads until 10,000 fucking views and like 5,000 combined watch minutes or some shit. Old Derek Joseph Ratty pleaded to guilty to sexual exploitation of a minor, distribution of child pornography. Right here in your own backyard, folks. I just don't get it. They always look like this guy. They always look just like this guy. You know what I mean? Every time. Close together eyes, smug look on their face like, what? Can't believe I'm in trouble for this. Fucking scumfucks. Bad people, folks. Bad people. What else is going on? Oh yeah, there's a huge garbage island built up over
in... And Mike, with the potential...
in Sparks, off Rock Park. Look at this nasty shit. You know, I don't mind people being homeless. A lot of them are stuck in that position, and a lot of them choose to live that lifestyle. But I'll tell you right now, when I was adventuring, as I called it, or being homeless, as my mother called it, I never had to leave a fucking pile of garbage anywhere. I always managed to still somehow be a fucking decent member of society. This shit is baffling to me. I just don't understand. How is it that people can... Woo! Be so obtuse as to think this shit's okay. Hey, you know what, man? Fuck it. I'm homeless. I'm homeless. These people haven't done anything for me, so I'm just gonna leave this fucking garbage here. I'm just like, no, that's not fucking acceptable. I do not abide. The dude does not abide to this, folks. Okay, I don't abide. And then also, this poor fucking kid looks like he was trying to break into a storage unit. From the looks of things, you know, we don't know for sure, but looks like he got shot in the fucking back, or maybe the face. I don't know. You know what I'm saying, though. Like, the cops just killed this kid. Another one. 21-year-old guy shot. Yeah, just what the fuck? Okay, this is the problem that I have overall with the gun control conversation in this country, folks. Okay, my problem is this. Let's get rid of that browser. I'm working on this. I'm working on it, folks, okay? Like I said, I'm the only engineer. I just got a fucking mouse here. That's what I control the whole show with. Anytime. You got thousands of people right now talking all over the internet and public forums and at the coffee shop and anywhere else you might go about this gun control issue. We got to get guns out of the hands of crazy people. Cops kill 1,100 people a year. Since Columbine, mass shooters are only up to 1,500. That's like 20 fucking years, guys. In 20 years, it's taken mass shooters to clear what it takes roughly 12 months for your United States police force to take care of, okay? Do we need gun control, or do we need a cultural fucking shift? Do we need something to change in the way that our minds and our souls and our interaction with one another occurs? I mean, I'm asking you. You go ahead and leave it in the comments or the chat or whatever the fuck. But, like, for real. Right? Right here in Reno, cops are gunning down 21-year-old kids. And before anybody starts bibble-babbling about the race or this, any of that, that's irrelevant. I know you don't like to hear it because it's a cornerstone of the Black Lives Matter argument, but it's true. The race is irrelevant. The police kill 1,100 people a year, and when you look at who's unarmed out of the pool of all the people shot by the police, 3% of them are white, 3% of them are black. Okay? Cops don't give a fuck. If you're poor and then they're in a bad mood, they can execute you. They can take your fucking life. Yeah, but they get acquitted all the time because they're racist. They're racist. No, they get acquitted because there's a billion-dollar industry of lawyers and lobbyists to keep the people we trust to keep the peace out of prison. And that's for the good of the public interest. If they threw every dirty cop in a fucking jail cell, there would be anarchy on the streets of America because we would clearly have no trust in the cops. We're already really low on our trust in the cops. Can you imagine if we actually got to see how many of these scumfucks were scumfucks right out there in the open? Fucking anarchy, guys. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it should stay this way. I'm just saying it's got nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with keeping fucking the peace. Keep the cops out of jail so that we believe the cops are upstanding good citizens that will protect us. Because most of them are. Consider for a moment, the city of Chicago has 50,000 police officers. Right? 50,000. If 1% of them are bad, that's still 500. 500 bad cops on the street. Alright, so we're going to take a break from the news. That's very serious. I want to talk television now. I don't know anybody else out there, if you all get down with The Blacklist. It's a kick-ass show with James Spader and some other people whose names escape me right now. But it's fucking awesome. And I guess I should tell you spoiler alert if you haven't been keeping up. But for those of you that have, we all know that a main character was recently killed. An integral part of all of the the complete arc of this story. Okay. The Blacklist is about a girl becomes a FBI agent. Right? She's a profiler for the FBI, whose family history is shrouded in mystery and fire. Parents were killed in a terrible fire, and she's adopted and goes on to live a full life. And then, out of nowhere, this man named Raymond Reddington, who's an ultimate criminal, like the concierge of crime, they call him, he comes into her life out of nowhere, right? And starts fucking everything up. Not on purpose, but that's just his nature. He's like the scorpion on the back of the frog. And she starts to learn that maybe there's more to her history than she knew. Turns out her mom was a secret double agent for the Russians. Her dad was a secret double agent for the Americans. Try not to spoil too much here for you, but those even watching know who her dad is and all that, like, drama and shit, right? So you have this dichotomy within the story arc where she's learning both about her past family, and then there's this family she's building now with her husband and her child and all of her friends and family at the FBI. She's got this new family she's building, and it's this beautiful dichotomy amongst the story. 5 seasons they've been building on this. And then they decided to fucking kill off an integral member of the new family. And I'm stuck wondering, how can they possibly continue to build on this dichotomy of old family and building a new family when they're tearing the new family down? What the fuck? So I realize my show's not super popular enough to be seen by any execs over there working on the Blacklist, but just in case, I'd like to throw this out there. Please, for the love of God, make a twist. Bring him back. Not only is he the second best actor in the show, okay, I know. Some of you don't know who I'm talking about. I'm trying not to spoil it. Okay, I'm trying not to do spoilers. But those of you that know what I'm talking about. Bring him back. Liz can't fucking do the things she's got to do in the future without that motivation to keep the family growing and intensify that whole dichotomy. I mean, just, guys, I'm very disappointed in the way the Blacklist is ending. That's all I'm saying. And I think if they continue on this track, they will find a massive fan base drop off. And I don't know that we'll get a 6th season. That's all I really have to say about it. We're jumping ship again. I want to have like slide cards that come in, and there's different segments here. But truth is, I'm not quite there yet. I had that built in the Open Broadcaster Studio, but then it upgraded, it updated, and for some reason, every time it updates, it totally face fucks my entire profile there, and it's very, very frustrating. Very frustrating. Whew. So, I think now we'll kick over to world news, just news in general, major headlines. I usually get a little more passionate about that, and frankly, Reno's news is boring as fuck today. So, let's talk about the crazy lady who shot up the fucking YouTube building yesterday. That's fucked up, right? Now, I'm a YouTuber. I've had a channel canceled because of fucking wrongfully applied, algorithmically applied copyright infringement notices, despite the fact that I was using it in fair use with no monetization, and all of the bells and whistles were fulfilled. The thing there is, this lady's probably right. When YouTube fucks your life up, you really have no other recourse. You pretty much just have to sit there and eat it or become a fucking lunatic. Now, most of us just eat it. We just accept the fact that it's a giant corporation that works on algorithms, and sometimes it fucks your YouTube channel up. And yes, maybe you think to yourself for a moment, those motherfuckers, I'm gonna get them, right? But you don't do it because you're sane. Now, I don't know why this lady did it. That hasn't really been expressed fully. According to her dad, she was, quote, mad at the company or angry. Let's see. Crazy. So I'm just doing a little bit of reading on this Mercury News, which, holy fuck, this website is terrible. It just keeps bouncing the fuck around all over the place. Ads and shit. Oh yeah. Okay, so technical difficulties, folks. Problem with smoking on the job. Sometimes you get little coughing fits. Make this face a lot. It's not very attractive, so I'll kick you over to that fair use again. Sorry. Alright, so back to the YouTuber. Turns out she was a YouTuber. Had her own website. She was an animal activist and a vegan activist. I only mention those things as semi-important, but I just like to show that there is in fact crazies who will go unhinged and shoot places up who happen to be liberals. That's important, because I am neither liberal nor conservative. I am a member of an elite class of folks who exist most of their time on the rim of the canyon of concern. We look down, we see the game, and we go, oh, that is not even looking like any fun to play right now. I'm going to hang right here. You might call us libertarians. I don't know. Middle of the road, I guess. I think Bob and Jim should be able to smoke a big fatty on their honeymoon. I just also think they should be allowed to take their honeymoon in Louisiana and spend the entire time at a gun range shooting fully automatic weapons for fun. See what I mean? I don't really stand on either side. It's amazing. So, for me, it's important to take note of the relative political leanings of the crazy people in our existence here, just to illustrate when I'm making these kinds of videos that there's really no one kind of person that commits this kind of atrocity. You know, it's not just terrorists who are moved by Allah. It's not just crazy white ring Christian males. It also happens to be animal activists, vegans. I mean, Jesus Christ, folks, do we forget the entire 80s and 90s when environmental activists were putting tree spikes in and killing fucking lumberjacks? Do we forget the environmental terrorists, as they were called, that people like blowing shit up? So it's important to keep it into perspective. Let's remember the whole of the history, you know what I mean? Like, you like to hear that in the news today. You know, oh, crazy shooter. Definitely going to be a right-winger. The right wing is like, definitely going to be a terrorist. Y'all seen the girl that shot YouTube up? I mean, have you actually seen this bitch's face? Here, let's do this. And we'll do that. Right? No. That's the one I want. There we go. Okay. Yeah, look. This is the lady. I'm an elephant. Don't go to the circus. I mean, the bitches weren't... okay, folks! Folks! This fucking lady is holding a sign telling people not to go to the circus. Do you know how... I mean, that's like far crazy left wing. Right? Now, I'm coming full circle here, guys. The idea is that I can feel where she's coming from at anger for YouTube. I, too, have been furious with YouTube. Sometimes the things that they choose to do and the way in which they limit new personalities coming onto the platform and make it harder for you to be discovered algorithmically. The leeway that I see given, you've got, I mean, there's an entire channel dedicated to ripping and reinserting using CG entire commercials from corporations who, you got to imagine, would prefer not have their commercials mocked. I can't imagine these guys got permission from Chevy to shit all over their commercials. And I'm glad they do it. I love the shit. Zebra Corner's great. But I'm just saying, okay, I've yet to see any of their videos get yanked down or their entire channel shut down for copyright infringement. Well, I had a video flagged before processing was over one time. I used a 3-second clip of Stan from South Park. And before the processing was over, I had a fucking copyright flag. During that time, there was somebody who was live streaming the entire seasons of South Park. Had 1 million views viewers at any given time. They weren't shut down. They weren't killed. YouTube soaked up that fucking ad revenue. Soaked it up. My shit, little, no ad revenue. Fuck that guy. So I've been mad at YouTube too. I thought, like, you know, like, damn, I wish that the hackers at fucking Anonymous would just tear that shit down, you know? And I ain't never been fucking angry enough to walk into a joint and kill some motherfuckers. That is for goddamn sure. So what drives somebody? That's the real crux of this show. That's what we're really trying to find out. What drives somebody in this culture to say to themselves, hey, you know what I ought to do? I ought to roll down to fucking so-and-so place or whatever. Let's just start killing people. What fucking inspires a person to do that? Y'all think about it for a minute. I gotta grab some weed and a cigar. We can smoke another joint and put our noggins on this one. Because I think it's important, you know, to determine, well, WTF, right? I mean, WTF. That's not asking too much. That's just what the fuck. What brings a person to do that? Personally, I got to imagine it's a state of already, you know, fleeting fucking concern for life in the world. My personal philosophy. That's not an ad for Swisher. The motherfuckers ain't paying me, but they should. I ought to get dividends how many of these motherfucking things I smoke. Anyway. What brings a person to say to themselves, I want to kill some motherfuckers, right? That's the question at hand. And I think the answer is actually kind of simple. And also extremely complicated and convoluted. And that is this. We have what I like to call a culture of neuroses. Every element of our culture keeps people more and more separated, more divided, more isolated. First, by ideological groups, right? So you got your LGBT people who are like, I'm fucking committed to this. You got your right-wing or your hardcore Christians or your other religions that are like, no, I'm gonna live in Pennsylvania and churn butter for the rest of my life, right? Like, first we categorize ourselves by that. And then even those echo chambers start to get smaller and smaller as you find differing opinions amongst the crowds. I mean, how many fucking versions of Christianity are there? Just for an example of that. I mean, Christian doctrine is pretty simple. Fucking be nice to each other. There's really not a whole lot more there. You look at the red words in fucking Jesus, he's pretty much just always saying, hey, stop being an asshole. Right? But there's fucking 50 or 60 different denominations of Christianity. Like, what the fuck, yo? Everybody and their brother be like, yeah, I think you're right. God wants us to be nice to each other, but he also wants us to be able to fuck our sister. I mean, surely there's one in you know, Oklahoma or some shit where sister fucking is a rite of passage by law of the gods. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure that exists. I'm sure of it. I don't know, but I'm sure. So first you isolate by ideas, then you start isolating even further into that. Before you know it, you're living in this vicarious world. I mean, y'all want to know why Friends was so popular? Because most of us don't have any. Okay? I know what you're thinking, but trust me. Trust me. You have acquaintances. You have people you have to deal with. You have geocentrically determined associates. That's the word I'm looking for. But ultimately, most of us don't have those real friends. That show Friends is so popular because for 10 years, America was able to vicariously have those experiences. It's what we do here. We quit going out and chasing adventure and productivity and positivity, and we just live vicariously through television and books and other escapes. And don't get me wrong, we have a need for those things. I'm not coming down on Friends. I laughed. I thought the show was funny. I'm just saying what made it more funny than, you know, any of the other shows on at that time that got canceled earlier, and I can't remember what they're called. It's because they didn't attach themselves to a specific emotional point that we can all relate to, the desire to have that close-knit, tight friend group. That through thick and thin, no matter what, it always turns out okay in the end. Because that's not reality. You can say the wrong thing out loud in a moment of white heat and lose half a friend group. That's possible. Now, that would never happen in Friends. Because if Joey told Chandler, go fuck yourself, I can't believe you said you were going to kill your boss because he fired you, and I don't want to hang out with murderers, there would not have been a 6th season. Now, I'm not saying that happened in the show. I'm just making an example. You know what I mean? The reality is much different. So, coming full circle again, what makes a man or a woman decide they want to walk into a building and kill a bunch of motherfuckers? It's isolation. It's culturally produced inadequacy. What do I mean by that? I mean, people are not necessarily inherently inadequate, but they are just living in a culture designed to make them feel that way. Culture that's designed to make you feel inadequate, but yet at every turn offers you a snake oil solution to solving that inadequacy. And it's not just capitalism, because it's not. A lot of it has to do with command and control. It's a neoliberal theory. Ooh, and the technical term is escaping my mind right now. Productive leisure, I believe is what it's called. And the idea is, if you got a bunch of guys working for you in a mine, okay, and the conditions are not great, and you have no interest financially or morally in making those conditions better, okay? Now, you can let your guys get off work, go down to the pub, get drunk and complain about it, and the next thing you know, they're organizing a fucking union. Now you got to spend more money on fucking keeping better ventilation in the coal mines, which you don't want to do because you're trying to fuel your yacht, right? So what do? How do you maintain control? Because it's not just about the profits, it's the status of control, it's the power. You got to remember, the guy who owns the mine, he can afford to better ventilate that fucking place. It's not that he doesn't even, it's not even like he wants those people to die. It's that he's in control and he's not going to have somebody else tell him what he's got to do. Right? It's about the power. If he were to decide on his own to do the ventilation in the fucking mine shafts, there'd be no need for a union. But he's not focused on that. He's focused on his acquisition of power and cash. So, Instead of having all your guys leave the mine, go down to the pub, start a union, go on strike, fuck your profits, now you're building a ventilation. You say to yourself, why don't we sponsor a fucking softball team? You get together with your other mine-owning buddies and you say, hey, let's have a contest. Right? I know y'all don't know this, but that's the birth of organized sports. The birth of organized sports gave you and me something to vicariously attach ourselves to focus on. You want to know why television is a billion-dollar industry? You don't think they could make these fucking TV shows for less? I'm working right now on getting a crew together. I'm gonna make a little TV show. All I got is a fucking HP HD or a Logitech 1080p fucking 902 camera or whatever. I mean, this thing was $109. But that and this delightful fucking Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, I'm gonna make a TV show. You think I got $1 million? I ain't got $1 million. I got an idea. I got a couple leads on some people that might want to put together something. No. The reason they spend billions of dollars on that industry is to generate more revenue, cultivate more control. Problem, of course, is this generates a state of systemic neuroses. People are constantly in a state of fucking panic. Oh, I felt for a brief moment like I needed that fancy new car. Shit. Right? Now your focus goes from how am I going to take care of my life? How am I going to fulfill myself spiritually, artistically, intellectually? And now I'm thinking, how am I going to make that $380 car note? Right? Feeling a little neurotic. Most of us cope well. Most of us have systems or means of coping well. It's one of the evolutionary traits of the human animal that has allowed us to become the dominant force on this fucking planet. We adapt. It's not always a good thing because it can be exploited. It's being exploited. I mean, you want to know why there's so many fucking superhero movies out right now? Because we all feel helpless, hopeless, lost, completely out of control. What is the concept of a superhero? But one person rises out amongst everyone else and says, I'm basically normal. I mean, of course I can fly and shit, but basically I'm normal. Right? This is the character dichotomy that we build and the association we make with ourselves to the character. Nobody watches Thor and thinks to themselves, yeah, I'm just like the president in that movie. When Thor tells him to get fucked, he's going to do it his way or whatever. You know, like, that's not how it works. The concept of the hero is you are the hero. You have the control. You could be the one to rise up. And you do so vicariously through your character, leaving you still empty, powerless, and at a state of loss of control. But temporarily satisfied. Consider it a vaccine if the fucking disease is self-awareness. So, again, we come full circle. What makes a person think to themselves, I gotta go kill a bunch of motherfuckers? This is the defining question of our times, folks. Not what tool does a maniac use to massacre. It's what trigger in the mind of the maniac sends them out to commit a massacre. Because I think they proved it really well in Nice, France. You don't need a gun. You need a corridor and a Mack truck. Still the most people killed in any fucking single, like, non-explosive terror attack. You know what I mean? Like, 82 fucking people died in Nice. Okay? That's a lot of motherfuckers, folks. difficulties. So people feel lost, they feel lonely, they feel powerless. By design. That's your answer. I didn't mean it to be so anticlimactic, folks, but that's the answer. By design, people are fucking lonely, helpless, and powerless, and they feel it. And they know that right when they're at the tipping point of trying to make change and affect change in their lives and others, something shiny and distracting catches their fucking attention and they cannot resist. And then when they get closer, they discover that shiny, attractive thing is going to vicariously fulfill for a moment the satisfaction that they seek of feeling like they're no longer lonely, unempowered, helpless. See, if you were self-aware, you would know that you actually feel powerless, helpless, and lonely. It's a state of constant confusion and distraction that's generated by a culture that breeds neuroses that keeps us from being self-aware, which is why I said before, if you were self-aware, you would know how lonely, helpless, and powerless you feel. And most of us do cope. Most of us can handle it, right? But there's some of us, quite clearly, who just can't. So we can bicker and we can argue and we can protest and hold up signs about elephants and circuses. And guns 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 and everybody got guns. Anybody else read this week that the UK has surpassed the United States in homicides? I just want to know. Somebody's coming at you with a knife to kill you, intent to cut your fucking throat. Do you prefer to have a pocket knife to defend yourself or a Glock 45? It's a simple question. Let's remove all the biases and think about it. I'm logical, I'm in the moment, objective. Let's pretend there's never been a murder with a gun ever in the world. It's the newest technology. You just fucking found out about it. Do you want the pocket knife or the Glock? I want the Glock. I'm just throwing that out there. You know what I mean? No Glocks in London, folks. UK. More homicides than the United States per capita. That's fucking amazing. But the Europeans they don't have mass shootings. No, they just scatter them out. They shotgun that shit. God damn, it's a lack of logic, ain't it? Now that being said, yes, I agree. The kid who shot up the fucking school in Florida should have never been able to buy a gun. 37 fucking reports to the FBI and local police saying this kid's like shooting chickens in the backyard, dissecting cats, and all sorts of other crazy shit. I don't know if he's really dissecting cats. I'm just making that up, but you know what I'm saying. Motherfucker is unstable. Now the problem here, of course, is how do you institute that? My guess is the county sheriff. What do you mean county sheriff? That seems so simple. It is simple. You get 30 calls on a kid. It's real easy. You go to every gun dealer in town and you have them added to the gun dealer's independent lists. Or it could even be a no sale list. Like a no sale list. Could be fucking federal. That could work. You know, the sheriff takes into account how many fucking reports they've got on this guy's a nut job or this lady's fucking crazy. Yeah, that's exactly how you do it. The sheriff would take into account all of the fucking reports. FBI would be required to notify local sheriff's department if they get a report. Because let's be fair, who should follow up on that report first? The FBI or the local sheriff? The FBI who's fighting terrorists, the sheriff who's keeping kids from smoking cigarettes. Let's give that guy something more important to do. Just saying, it's an idea. So you have your sheriff, who then goes to the local gun dealers after there's been a hearing. You could even bring the fucking crazy guy in and give him a hearing, okay? Let's keep this America, for fuck's sake. He gets a hearing, a summons in the mail that says, hey, there's been fucking this many reports that say you're too fucking nutty for your own community. So we're going to have a hearing about it. Because I can't imagine that there's shitloads of people in every little community that have like 30 fucking reports to the fact that they're nutty as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's got to be a small proportion. Like, if Chicago got 3 million people, right, there can only be roughly, what, like 100, 150 that are, like, at any given moment ready to go off their fucking rocker. It's a very small percentage of people that commit this kind of atrocity, right? We give them a lot of fucking, you know, spectacle, but there's very few people actually doing this kind of shit, right? At risk for this kind of shit. So local PD, or sheriff's department rather, and local authorities give this guy a hearing. Turns out, yes, he's too fucking crazy after the hearing, whatever. You know, you bring in psychologists, whatever. I don't know how you figure it. This is not part for me to figure out. The sheriff then goes to the gun dealers, puts them on the no-buy list. The gun dealers are then required to register on the no-gun-buy list. And there you go. Right? So now it's a federal list. The gun dealers... Fuck, let's not even go to the gun dealers. Let's have the list accessible by the local sheriff's department. They have the hearing. They put it up. Every time you go to buy a gun, the gun dealer is required to check your fucking information against the no-gun-buy list. How hard is that? Simple. Simple. It requires direct action. A person has to have a certain number of reports filed upon them saying that they're fucking insane or violent or nutty or whatever. Simple solution. Requires more logistics. That's for fucking people in government. This is just an idea, folks. But my point is this. It's a hell of a lot easier than trying to do gun buybacks or gun bans or banning certain types of guns. Let's not forget the function of the Second Amendment, which is to protect the people from the government. That's its core function. And if y'all don't know how commas work and separating ideas in a single sentence, you're fucking dumb. The militia is the only thing that need to be well regulated. And that needs to be well regulated to keep it from becoming an opposing or dominant force in its own community and running a community like a warlord. God damn, the logic is so easy, and I can't believe people ignore it for their own emotional biases. It's very simple. The right to bear arms, comma, and a well-regulated militia. I digress. Again, folks, I'm neither left nor right. I'm up here on the canyon looking at this shit going, fuck, why can't you guys see it? I forget. Can't see the spokes for the wheel when you're the axle. So what makes a person want to kill other people? Loneliness, powerlessness, helplessness. I know those seem like the same thing. Empowerment is you. Helplessness is others. You can't help yourself or other people. And you're isolated. And you're alone. And that's no fun. No fun at all. So what we got to do is figure out how to find those people that are so lost by this culture and protect themselves from themselves and us from them. That's easy to do. We already have lots of things in place. First step is people like the sheriff's department and the FBI doing their jobs when they get calls that say this guy is fucking nutty, killing fucking animals in the backyard and shit. just for one. 2, we've got to find a fair, democratic process by which we can address those people once they've been identified. Because, you know, you could be kind of a dick and have a neighbor who is an asshole, and they could file complaints against you, and then in a hearing comes to light because you bring a bunch of your fucking neighbors over who are like, nah, you know, Rod's an asshole, but fucking Bill is nuts. You know, like, Bill just be filing complaints on motherfuckers left and right, you know. Then then Rod doesn't lose his right to fucking bear arms, you know, right? Because it's been shown in a democratic process that not all of those complaints were legit. But it should be fucking, you know, fair and democratic. If you're wondering how we are going to pay for all this, by the way, it's really easy. We got 2 options. One, surprisingly, is going to outweigh, in my opinion, another. The first option is legalize cannabis and put the proceeds from cannabis taxation into the mental health program into this country, and actually have a mental health program into this country. Just to start, that's an idea. Or we could we could stop blowing up the third world and killing shitloads of brown people every year with remote control fucking airplanes, and we could use that money that we already collect from the people instead, put that into a mental health program. Because I'll be honest with you, I'd prefer to do this. If we ended perennial war for the sake of conquest and dominance and put that money into the mental health program, within a few years, I think pot would be legal anyway, you know, irrespective of that. Because people would be, you know, finding better balance. You'd have more doctors saying, oh shit, you're depressed and schizophrenic, smoke a joint. That would have turned, you know, like domino effect us into a higher standard of living and legalize cannabis. Because I'm actually of the opinion that we should fully legalize cannabis, like we did roses. Yeah. Just saying. The idea that we are going to give special taxes to it, or that we're going to use it as a means to soak more fucking income, or more taxes out of the people, I'm really not for. It's not that I'm against taxes in general. I think taxes are an okay thing. I like collectively pooling some money together to buy new shit, nicer shit for all of us to enjoy. I got nothing against taxes. However, at 20% of every fucking paycheck, I definitely feel like I'm already putting in my fair share. Definitely feel like I'm putting in my fair share. Now, I don't make millions of dollars, but if I did, I'd still be happy to give up, you know, 18, 19%, as long as I knew that every fucking corporate tax dollar was not going to blow up the third world. That would be no problem for me. I've got a real problem introducing new taxes when we're already misallocating the ones we give them. Just my idea. Just how I feel. To be honest, today's show, I just really wanted to smoke some pot and run my mouth a little bit. Not been a lot of focus here. Not been a lot of organization. For those of you that have stuck through it this long in the rebroadcast, thank you. I haven't checked, but I'm fairly certain I've got no one watching me right now. That's usually the case when I do a live stream like this, but let's see. Bring up the old dashboard. Anybody watching? No. I got 16 followers, folks, at the point of this recording. And it looks like not one of you are watching Smoke to Think on. Blunt Talk Live is a good show. I get really stoned and rap about important shit. WTF. Yeah, nobody watching. That's okay. Oh shit. YouTube shooter expressed anger over video site's policies. I had a sneaking suspicion, folks. I truly did. Try to silence people, and how do they feel? They feel powerless. They feel helpless. When their voices aren't being heard, they feel isolated and lonely. I know I'm just a lonely bud tender. I just sell weed for a living for the state of Nevada. But I'm fucking right. Aren't I? Am I not right? Is it not isolation, loneliness, helplessness, powerlessness? Is that what's driving these people to go off the fucking deep end? How can we develop a culture, a society, that for a change is our friend? Some of y'all got to get down with that TM, right? Some Terrence McKenna. Culture's not your friend. Damn, the fan off this fucking laptop is killing it. Like, smoke rings get to about here and just instantly. Blowing smoke rings while I'm doing things. I'm trying to sing, but y'all know what I mean. That's just a little rap I made up. I was feeling rappy. You ever get so mad in life, you think to yourself, I could burn the world down right now. Of course you have. You're fucking people. Nobody's ever not felt that way. Not in the history of people. Just something to think on. Some fat to chew, folks. This was a fun little live broadcast. I'm going to sign off, I think. I don't know. There's not much more to say. We've been running for like a fucking hour. 57 minutes. With very little frame loss. It's been an excellent stream. That's good. Anyway, I'm going to be putting together some some other shit. Some not live streams. But the live streams are going to keep coming. I'll get more focused, a little bit more, tuned in. Try to dial this down to like keeping it into that 45 minutes to an hour range, but with a little more fun and content. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Smoke more weed. Be nicer to each other. Forgive one another for the shit they say and do. And, don't forget, life's a ride. It seems real, but it's not. And Bill Hicks was right. At the end of the day, all you can do is hold on tight. Thanks, man.